The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 symbolized the triumph of freedom over division. For decades, the wall had stood as a stark reminder of the Cold War, separating families, friends, and an entire nation. Its collapse was not just the end of a physical barrier, but the beginning of a new era for Europe and the world. It was a beacon of hope, showing that entrenched barriers could be dismantled through people's will and diplomacy. The images of joyful crowds and leaders embracing captured the world's imagination, inspiring movements for freedom far beyond Germany's borders. Today, the world's attention has shifted to the Taiwan Strait, a flashpoint between China and Taiwan. This narrow stretch of water has become one of the most closely watched regions on the planet, where military maneuvers and political statements can send shockwaves through global markets and international relations. Unlike Germany, this is not a simple story of two states, but a saga of civil war, competing claims, and the ambitions of a rising superpower. The roots of the conflict stretch back to the Chinese Civil War, and the division has persisted for over 70 years, shaped by ideology, identity, and geopolitics. The future of Taiwan could reshape the global order. Decisions made here will affect not only the region, but also the balance of power between East and West, and the fate of democracy in Asia. Recently, Chinese academic Zheng Yongnian proposed using the German reunification model as a blueprint for Taiwan. His idea has sparked debate among scholars, policymakers, and the public, raising questions about whether history can truly repeat itself in such a different context. He suggests economic incentives, not military threats, could pave the way for unity. By deepening economic ties and building trust, Zheng argues, the two sides might find a peaceful path forward, one that avoids the devastation of conflict. Could the lessons from Germany apply to the Taiwan Strait? Or are the differences too great for history to offer a roadmap? The stakes are high and the answers are far from simple. We'll explore the history of German reunification, compare it to China-Taiwan relations, and weigh the promise and pitfalls of Zheng's proposal. By examining the past, we may better understand the possibilities and the dangers that lie ahead. Is this a genuine path to peace, clever propaganda, or something in between? The world is watching, and the next chapter is yet to be written. To truly understand the German model, we need to take a step back and revisit its remarkable history. A story shaped by war, division, and ultimately, unity. Germany's journey from devastation to reunification is not just a tale of politics, but of people, resilience, and hope. After World War II, Germany was split into two separate countries, West Germany and East Germany. Each side developed its own government, economy, and way of life, influenced by the Western Allies and the Soviet Union. Families were divided, friends separated, and a nation was torn in two. The Berlin Wall, built in 1961, became the ultimate symbol of this division, a concrete barrier that not only split a city, but also represented the ideological divide between democracy and communism. For decades, it stood as a stark reminder of the Cold War. In 1989, a wave of change swept through Eastern Europe. Reforms in the Soviet Union, combined with mass protests and a growing desire for freedom in East Germany, led to the fall of the Berlin Wall. The world watched in awe as people from both sides embraced, celebrating the end of an era. West German Chancellor Helmut Kohl recognized this historic opportunity. He moved quickly, pushing for rapid reunification. The key to his plan was economic incentives, offering hope for a better future to East Germans who had lived under a struggling economy for decades. West Germany offered East Germans a one-to-one currency exchange, allowing them to swap their East German marks for the much stronger Deutsche Mark. Overnight, people's savings gained real value, and the promise of prosperity became tangible. This generous deal made reunification not just a political idea, but a personal reality for millions. Ordinary people could now buy goods, travel, and dream of a brighter future. The sense of hope was palpable in the streets. But reunification came with a price. West Germany committed to massive financial transfers to rebuild the East, investing in infrastructure, schools, and businesses. This was funded by a special tax, showing the West's willingness to share the burden for the sake of unity. The cost was enormous, hundreds of billions of marks, but it was seen as an investment in the nation's future. Economists debated the risks, but the vision of a united Germany prevailed. The German model was unique. It combined strong political will, overwhelming popular demand, and a powerful economic promise. join us and your life will improve. This message resonated deeply with people on both sides of the former divide. Reunification was not imposed by force but driven by hope, optimism, and the belief that together, Germans could build a better future. It was a merger of hearts and minds. The world watched as two halves, separated for decades, became one nation again. The reunification ceremony in Berlin was broadcast globally, symbolizing a new chapter for Germany and for Europe. The German model inspired hope around the world, but it also raised a question. Could this approach, blending political courage, economic incentives, and popular support, work elsewhere, or was it a unique moment in history? The story of China and Taiwan is fundamentally different from other divided nations. Unlike Germany or Korea, whose divisions were shaped by foreign powers after war, the roots of the China-Taiwan split are deeply internal, shaped by their own civil conflict and competing visions for the future. Their separation was born from a brutal civil war, not from foreign occupation or outside intervention. The struggle between the nationalists and communists tore the country apart, leaving scars that still shape both societies today. In 1949, after years of fighting, the communists seized control of the mainland. The defeated nationalists retreated to the island of Taiwan, each side insisting it was the true government of all China. This rivalry set the stage for decades of tension and uncertainty. For decades, both governments claimed there was only one China, but fiercely disagreed over who should rule it. The world was forced to choose sides, and the question of legitimacy became a global issue. Over time, Taiwan transformed itself. It evolved from authoritarian rule into a vibrant democracy, developing a distinct identity and a thriving civil society that stands apart from the mainland. Today, most people in Taiwan see themselves as Taiwanese, not Chinese. This sense of identity is especially strong among the younger generation who have grown up with freedom and democracy. This growing sense of Taiwanese identity fuels the tensions we see today as calls for self-determination clash with Beijing's ambitions. Under Xi Jinping, Beijing views Taiwan as a breakaway province and has ramped up both military threats and economic pressure, determined to bring the island under its control. The result is a dangerous stalemate, with both sides unwilling to back down and the world watching anxiously. China's government is determined to achieve what it calls reunification, seeing it as a historic mission and a matter of national pride. But most Taiwanese want to decide their own future. They value their democracy and way of life, and are wary of any move toward unification with the mainland. Unlike the case of Germany, there is little public desire in Taiwan for unification. The majority prefer the status quo or even formal independence. The divide is not just political, it's deeply rooted in culture, history, and identity. Generations have grown up with different experiences and values. All of this makes the Taiwan Strait one of the world's most complex and volatile flashpoints, a challenge with no easy answers, and consequences that reach far beyond the region. Zheng Yongnian's proposal enters this tense landscape. He urges Beijing to swap coercion for attraction, offering Taiwan economic incentives for peaceful unification. The plan: massive financial aid, investment in infrastructure, and a reunification fund. He even suggests a favorable currency exchange, echoing Germany's one-to-one deal. The goal is to make unity seem like a path to prosperity, not subjugation. PRC citizenship for all Taiwanese is also on the table, promising rights and benefits across China. Zheng's vision is to win hearts and minds, reframing unification as partnership, not conquest. It's a bold attempt to change the narrative. But would economic incentives be enough to sway Taiwan, or is this just a new form of pressure? Zheng's economic incentives sound tempting, but reality is more complicated. Taiwan is already a wealthy, high-tech society. Most don't see China as a model of prosperity. The promise of getting richer through unification is less convincing here than it was in East Germany. The German experience also warns of hidden costs. Reunification led to economic hardship and resentment in the East. China would face a massive financial burden, and Taiwan's industries could suffer. More importantly, many Taiwanese would see these offers as a golden cage, economic benefits with political strings attached. The memory of Hong Kong's broken promises has deepened distrust. For most in Taiwan, freedom and democracy outweigh any financial incentive. Economic interdependence can't erase fears of lost autonomy. The core issue isn't money, it's trust and self-determination. No amount of cash can buy away those concerns. The real barrier to a German-style solution is identity, not economics. Germans on both sides of the wall saw themselves as one people, eager to reunite. In Taiwan, a distinct identity has taken root, built on democracy, human rights, and a unique history. Polls show most Taiwanese identify as Taiwanese, not Chinese. They value their freedoms and open society, and see little appeal in China's authoritarian system. For Beijing, Taiwan is the last piece of unfinished business, a matter of national pride and legitimacy. The Communist Party cannot accept formal independence. It's a core tenet of its rule. This makes compromise nearly impossible. The German model worked because both sides wanted unity. In the Taiwan Strait, one side demands submission, the other demands self-determination. It's a clash of sovereignties, national versus popular. Economic incentives can't bridge this political chasm. The divide is about identity and the right to choose. Taiwan's fate matters far beyond its shores. The Taiwan Strait is a vital artery for global trade. Any conflict would disrupt supply chains worldwide. Taiwan's semiconductor industry powers the digital economy. Its loss would give China huge leverage. The US and allies are committed to maintaining the status quo, seeing Taiwan as a test of the international order. This is a clash between self-determination and authoritarian sovereignty. The outcome will set a precedent for other disputes. A war could draw in major powers, risking catastrophe. Even a peaceful takeover would shift the global balance. That's why any peaceful alternative, however flawed, is being closely examined. For Taiwan's 24 million people, this is about survival, freedom, and identity. The threat of force shapes daily life and future plans. For many in China, reunification is tied to national pride and history. A peaceful solution would spare both sides the horrors of war. Globally, a Taiwan conflict would disrupt trade, spike prices, and threaten economic stability. The stakes are personal, not abstract. The search for peace is about families in Taipei living without fear, and young people in Shanghai not being sent to fight. Zheng's proposal, despite its flaws, forces us to consider alternatives to conflict. Can economic ties foster peace, or are some divides too deep? The answer will shape lives far beyond Asia. The world has a stake in what happens next. The German reunification model offers a hopeful story, but its lessons have limits. Germany's unity was built on shared identity and popular will, conditions missing in the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan's democracy and distinct identity stand in stark contrast to China's authoritarianism. For most Taiwanese, freedom isn't for sale, and Hong Kong's fate is a warning. Zheng's proposal may be more about optics than real compromise, reframing the debate on China's terms. Financial incentives can't resolve the core political and emotional issues. The world must confront the deep divide between China's ambitions and Taiwan's aspirations. Peace will require more than money. It demands respect for the will of the people. The German model remains a fascinating precedent, but not a ready-made solution. The search for peace continues, but it needs a new map.